Hey guys, it's Mom of Two Wife of One. I hope that you guys are having a good day. I hope that you're having a good week. Hope you guys took the time to read my blog on my blog, The Sphere, I guess on WordPress. It's Mom of Two Wife of One. So if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't visited, I have a lot of written blogs on there that hope you guys get interested in. Thank you all so much for those of you who recently subscribed to my YouTube channel. It means the world to me that people care enough about what I have to say to actually subscribe and get notifications on when I post new videos. So thank you so much. With everything that's been happening the past couple of weeks, I had a few messages that I wanted to talk about, but kind of seemed not really appropriate at this time. I think there are a lot of mixed feelings out there. There's definitely a lot of anger in the world right now, and there's no one thing I can say to make anybody feel better, and there's no one thing I can say to tell you what you can do. One thing that I have been thinking about a lot recently is what's happening right now compared to what happened in the 50s when my parents and my grandparents were of that age, so they were dealing with segregation head on. My grandmother was from Augusta, Georgia, and I know that she probably saw and experienced a lot of hate and a lot of really just amazing and just horrendous things. And she never talked about it. I never heard her mention any of these things. But I'm sure she has experienced that kind of thing. And even my parents growing up in DC probably wasn't as bad as other cities or states, but I'm sure that they still experienced their share of racism and being profiled. And one thing I was thinking about is that during that movement, all you really see and all you really heard about were people who were right there on the front lines. They were making the speeches. They were being hosed down. They were being chased by dogs. They were marching in the streets. They were doing the sit-ins. The people who were visible, who put a face on the civil rights movement. And I realized that that's a very good thing. That was extremely brave of them to do that and to be willing to risk their lives. But I also understood that not everyone is going to be in that position. I don't think that's everybody's strong suit. I think that you should have those people who are on the front lines and who are willing to kind of be the face of the movement and be the face of the issues and be willing to stand up there and speak or march or yell or do whatever needs to be done. But I think that in this day and age, you need other people as well. You need people who are behind the scenes, the people who are organizing, people who are writing their senator or their governor or the fraternal order of police or whoever. And in this day and age, I was talking to my mom. I think that based off the person that I am and based on the fact that I haven't knowingly experienced any of these things personally, I don't think that I would have been one of those people that would have been on the front line. But I think that I would have done my part on the back end. And because I'm a writer that's been trained as a writer, I probably would have written about it. I would have been like a Sojourner Truth, or I would have been like Maya Angelou. I've been someone who was actually writing about what's going on. And I know I would have written without fear. But I think that right now my role in 2016 as a mommy of two and a wife of one, my job in my mind, my primary job is to not only pray for the world, but to teach my children how to pray, to cover them with prayer whenever they leave this house. And not just my children, but also my husband. I have a brother. I have, play brothers. I have uncles. I have cousins. And, I know there's a lot of stuff happening with black men right now, but there are black women, obviously, who are being targeted as well and who are dying and who are experiencing this loss and this hatred as well. So in general, I'm praying for the world, and I'm praying for those people who are unnecessarily taking lives, and I'm praying for those people who are left without a father, without a mother, without that family member, people who are grappling, trying to figure out what can I do and what's going to happen next, people who are walking out their doors and are just filled with fear about whether or not they're going to come home that night. And I hate the fact that we live in a world where people are afraid to leave their houses and they're afraid to get in their cars because they don't know what could happen. And even though none of these incidents have happened in the state that I'm in, the fact that all of these incidents are happening so randomly, there's not a rhyme or a reason. There's no way to pattern, okay, it's going to happen in this place next, it's going to happen in this city next week. There's no way to dictate that. It's happening all over the country. And because of that, people are kind of, tensions are high. People don't really know what to do. Like I said, I think my role for me is to pray for my children, pray for my husband, just pray for the world in general, and also to educate my children. And I don't want to take their innocence away too soon, and I don't want to give them the wrong impression. I do believe that racism does exist still in the world. I do not believe, however, that every person who is not of color is a racist person. I've never believed that. I know that there are some quote unquote, good liberal people who love everybody and are unified and all that stuff. But I do believe that racism does exist. I'm not naive enough to think that it disappeared when the civil rights movement ended. Too many events that have been happening just in the past week, past month, past year alone has led me to believe that racism is still alive and well. And I know it is a learned behavior, and I read somewhere that level of learned behavior as well. My primary goal for my children is to teach them to love everyone, teach them to pray for people regardless of what they look like, what they talk like, where they come from, and to teach them that people are different and they're different cultures. People speak different languages, but that doesn't mean that because you speak this language and because you look like this, that you are above anybody else. I wouldn't want anyone to treat my children like they're beneath them simply because they're black and simply because they're from this area and simply because of who they're connected to and who their parents are. I want my children to walk around this world feeling safe, knowing that they're covered by the blood of Jesus, knowing that they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're following the law. They're following the rules set before them. They're treating everybody nicely. They're not talking about people. They're not judging other people. I know I'm not going to have completely perfect children, but I think that because racism is a learned behavior, a lot of times it's the parents who haven't done their due diligence to teach their children tolerance and to teach them acceptance. And it's something so small, just in the way you react to other people. Children are not dumb. They see everything that you're doing. They see how you talk to that person that works for you. They see how you treat that homeless person on the street. And everything that they see you do, they assume because you're mommy and your daddy that you do no wrong. So they're going to emulate your behavior when they get older. And you're going to sit around wondering, why is my child like this? And it's because of you. And none of us want to look inside and really place the blame on ourselves. Like I said, children learn this from somewhere. They don't just wake up one day and decide to be racist. They don't just wake up one day and decide that they're going to take somebody's life. They don't just wake up one day and decide, you know what, that girl looks really cute and she's drunk. I'm going to go over there and rape her. No one wakes up and has that premonition in their head. They all learn it from somewhere. And they're learning it from their parents or learning from whatever adult is around them when they're children. They learn the stuff and then that hatred grows in their spirit. And again, as parents, we sit back and wonder, well, how could my child do this? It's because we didn't teach them the right way from the very beginning. Children are very susceptible. Children will listen to you and they will model what you're doing and what you're saying. So you have to not only walk the walk, you have to talk the talk. Because you can't tell them one thing and then act completely different. Children, like I said, they're not dumb. They're not going to buy that. They're going to be confused and they're going to end up doing what you're doing as opposed to what you're saying. So those things have to line up for you first and foremost. And for my children, they are very young. My son is 7 and my daughter is 2. So in my head, I don't have anything to worry about for a few years, and nothing may ever happen to them for all I know. But it's still a matter of educating them on the history of their people. I think it's important that they understand the history of their culture because it'll make a lot of sense when they see why people are so incensed right now about what's going on and why people are so tired and so angry and so frustrated because this is the first time that our people have had to deal with this type of oppression. So I want them to know what happened in their history so they can understand what's going on in their present so they can be equipped to handle what could possibly happen in the future. And I want my children to also understand again that people were created differently, but God created all of us in his image. God decided that he was going to make people black, brown, white, Asian, Latino, whatever. God made that decision. And God said, it says in the Bible that we are wonderfully made. We are beautiful and wonderfully made and made in his image. And God doesn't make any crap. So despite whatever that person looks like, despite whatever that person sounds like or smells like or whatever, God made all of us and he didn't make any mistakes and we are here for a reason. And I want my children to know that. I don't want them to go around thinking that that person is better than them because that person is white. Or for my son to think, for my son to accept someone treating him badly or talking down to him because he's black. My son is an extremely sensitive and smart child, but because he's sensitive, I am afraid sometimes that someone's going to say something to him that he's going to internalize right away. That is one of my biggest fears, and that's why it's my job and it's daddy's job to instill in him this sense of confidence and the sense of knowing that he's here for a reason. He's here for a particular purpose because we have a particular path. God is going to bless my son beyond measure because my son already knows God, he already loves God, and because of the people that my son is connected to, God is going to bless him because of that. And again, my job as his mother and his father's job as his daddy is just to love our children, not just our son, but our daughters as well. Love them, teach them what's going on in the world so they can understand it, but also making sure that you have to walk a fine line. You have to teach them what's going on in the world, but not teach them that hatred is good, teach them that separation is good. So you have to be very careful with how you word things to children. I believe, it's just my opinion. But I don't think you should sugarcoat anything. Your children need to know what's going on. Now, am I going to sit him down tonight and tell him what's happening in the world? No. And the only reason I'm not doing that is because, again, I want him to hold on to his innocence as long as possible. My son is only 7. Right now, he doesn't see color. So I don't want to put that in his head that people are all these different colors now, and then he goes to school where just there's a rainbow of people there, and he starts dividing people in his head by color. I don't want him getting into that practice. So I'm not going to teach him that stuff right now. But for those of you who have older children, you cannot sugarcoat them from what's going on in the world because what's happening in the world, even if it's not happening in your city or in your town, it's gonna affect your children in some way, shape, or form. They still need to know what's going on. Because just like our children are seeing this and they're, becoming fearful or scared or whatever, there may be some white children seeing what's going on and thinking that that's the way to go. And they may grow up adopting all the practices of all these racist people who are doing things. So just keep that in mind when you guys are talking to your children. Like I said, don't sugarcoat anything. And I know that we're focused a lot on the boys, but like I said, there are plenty of women who have been targeted as well, who have lost their lives to police or lost their lives just in general. So your boys and your girls, whether they're grown men, women, or whether they're teenagers or whatever, don't hesitate to have this conversation with them. Let them know what's going on in the world and have an open dialogue with them about how they feel about it and what you guys can possibly do. So I love you guys so much. I pray that you all are safe. I pray that you all are not living with fear, that God does not instill a spirit of fear in us. Obviously, I don't want anything to happen to any of you guys, just like I don't want anything to happen to me or my family. But I know that I can't live my life in fear. Continue to live your life. Continue to do what you want to do. Find your own way. Find your own way to solve the problem or to make yourself feel better about what's going on. Whatever you can do, if it's writing a letter, if it's joining a chapter of Black Lives Matter, if it's, writing a blog, if it's doing a video like I'm doing, whatever it is, use your voice. God is giving you a voice and use it in any way you see fit. Don't resort to violence. That's not helping anything. That's just leaving more children without their parents. That's leaving more husbands and wives without their spouses. That's leaving a lot of turmoil and just a lot of just anger and resentment. So don't resort to that, but do something. So thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I'm Mommy to Wife of One. You can follow my YouTube channel. You can send me a message, email message if you guys have any things you want to say, if you want to comment, if you want to give me suggestions on topics, it's mama2wife1@gmail.com. That's mom of the number 2, wife of OME@gmail.com. You can follow me on Snapchat at mama2wife1. And hopefully I'll see you guys next week. I love you guys and see you soon.